I am Neha Raut from Srimati Kishore Board College of Pharmacy, County. I'm taking you through the regulatory affairs that what is regulatory affairs? Is it a new profession? No, because although in definitions you have gone through that it is a new profession which is developed on desire of governments, but genuinely telling you that since 10 years that our alumni are working in this department, and they have just started with 1.2 or 2 lakhs per annum only, and right now they are earning more than 22 lakhs or 28 lakhs per annum. So within the span of 10 years they got, and they are reached to very higher positions. Now, why this happens, and how actually it deals in the pharmaceutical industry. So it is developed on desire of government, the reason to protect public health, which is the first priority of our health sector, by controlling safety and efficacy of products in the area of pharmaceuticals, veterinary medicines, medical devices, pesticides, agrochemicals, cosmetics, and complementary medicine. So this regulatory affairs for like overseas for drug product, for medical devices, for cosmetics, starting from the development of the product to the marketing of the product, each and every step, it requires the regulatory standard, because it is for human use. And for the same, this regulatory affairs comes in the highlight. Now, it starts with the preclinical studies, as mentioned by Taksande sir, for discovery, that to work in a drug discovery, even with the analytical development part. So for preclinical studies, that we need to follow the OECD guidelines. And again, once you have done with the preclinical study, that company done with the preclinical study, then just to get confirmation or approval for the clinical studies, they need to apply through INDA. And again, if once they get approval, they can move for the clinical studies, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Again, for testing, they have a guidelines like for analytical method developments, for analytical studies, that ICH guidelines are there. These guidelines are used worldwide. And ultimately, these are having some strict and stringent rules which are followed by developed countries. And again, that reference countries are following regularly. For manufacturing compliances, like from the GMP, that good manufacturing practices mentioned by Hemke sir, and then good chemical practices. So for that we need to follow all the regulations which are required for designing of the production area, the manufacturing area, the raw material storage, and everything. And the ultimately in marketing or in post marketing, it requires approval, like even after ND applications only they get marketing approval in the particular country. So overall, for this, all the process, for all this drug development process, all these steps in the pharmaceutical industry, they required regulations, that regulations to be from regulatory agencies, and then only we can say this is acceptable worldwide. So while developing everything, the one thing which we need to focus, that to ensure the quality and safety. Whatever product you are developing in the pharmaceutical industry, it should ensure the quality and safety of product. And this is the major role of regulatory affairs department, to ensure the quality and safety through following or through maintaining all the guidelines and following all the guidelines in pharmaceutical industry, to maintaining all the documents, to preparing the documents and submitting it to the regulatory authorities. So one, we can say this is the link between pharmaceutical company and regulatory authorities, or the bridge which connects this pharmaceutical company through regulatory authorities. That's why this regulatory affair person or professional have direct communication with the regulatory authorities. And that is the reason at somewhere as associated the all functional areas of pharmaceutical industry department, this regulatory affairs played a major role, because here you have to directly deal with the regulatory authorities of different countries. These are some international regulatory authorities. For India, the CDSCO, for USA, that is US FDA, for Australia, it's TGA, for Japan, it's MHLW. So likewise, for all the developing as well as developed countries, they have their own regulatory authorities. Although like presently, there are so many different countries, that small countries are there, where they have their own regulatory authorities just for marketing anything or for manufacturing. So all the protocols or all the details are available there. So they all have their different websites where you can get all the details, like what are the different formats for application. Even for India, on CDSCO website, we have a Sugam portal through which we can ask, or we can apply for getting permission for marketing of the drug, for generic drug marketing, and for manufacture even. So there are different form numbers are there, which we have to go through, that company have to go through, and then only you can apply through the same. So now what exactly the role of RA professionals? This is, he's the one who keep track of ever-changing legislation, not only in the country where the company is located, but also globally where the company would like to launch their product. Because ultimately, being a Indian company, if Indian company would like to market their product in outside or in other countries, they need to follow all the guidelines given by that particular regulatory authority, and then only you can sell or market your product in the same. Again, the regulatory affairs person can advise on legal and scientific restraints and requirements which are required during the drug development process. So it might be associated with any document preparation, any document submission, or what would be the probable acceptable procedure for doing the same. So he can advise on a legal constraint. He can collect, and evaluate the scientific data, their research and development. So whatever the data, what is the procedure going on through the pharmaceutical industry, that all the data is collected by the regulatory affair person. And that is the reason, as mentioned by starting from the Omekar sir, then Vadher sir, Taksande sir, Gupta sir, and Hemke sir. All these functional areas you have to be thorough with. At least your basics must be clear with this all. Then only you can collate or collect and evaluate the whole data, and you can give your opinion, or you can modify that particular document and can submit to the authorities. He is the one who is responsible for presentation of registration document to the regulatory agency. So generally, most of the industry have their different systems. In specifically regulatory affairs, the most of company have their own softwares they develop for themselves only. So through that software, they can communicate with the regulatory agencies. So regulatory affairs person is responsible for the submission and taking update of all the documents associated with the drug. The most important part of regulatory person is to carry out all the subsequent negotiations necessary to obtain and maintain marketing authorization for the product concerned. As a simple example, if some company have patent on a particular drug, and if the company would like to sell it into the US FDA market, so that time if US FDA authority asks for the formula, so ultimately being an Indian company, we have to give only the data which we can give, and ultimately some confidential data is there. So in that time you need to do the professional way negotiation. This is not like we will not give it to you. So we have to deal with very proper way. We have to learn that the behavioral and skills that we have to develop in ourselves being a regulatory affair person, that to deal with the other regulatory authorities, because your ultimate client is your regulatory authority. If I am saying I am a company regulatory affair person, so my direct client is the FDA. So that is the reason you need to have a perfect skill and professionalism to deal with the same. That RA professional is the one that strategic and technical advisor from the beginning, the development of the product. So starting from the preclinical studies and drug development to the marketing and post-marketing compliance. And that's why that making it an important contribution, both commercially and scientifically, to the success of a development program and the company as a whole. So the regulatory affair person is responsible for the commercial as well as scientific benefit for that particular company. So now what is exactly in the regulatory landscape, or what the process of product development? Yeah, this is the part that preclinical development is a part of pharmacology. Again, the clinical studies are there where phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 is there. Again, quality assurance department is there, which is looking after some documentation part. And the regulatory landscape is what? It starts with the first step, that to classify the healthcare product. Is it drug? Is it cosmetic? And to which a regulatory authority or regulatory body that need to contact on the availability of the drug. Then identify the claim that your healthcare product to support the claim and your product label. So what you're claiming for your drug, what's the use of the drug, what is the concentration, what are the associated things with the drug. Then determine your healthcare market to identify the jurisdiction. Ultimately, as sir said, that different types of diseases are there where you can work. So ultimately, these diseases are vary with the region to region somewhere. So you need to identify the market. If you're designing some drug, if you're designing some anti-cancer drug, your company is designing the same. So what will be the first market for the same? So likewise, you have to approach to the regulatory authority for marketing of the drug. Then develop regulatory strategy by identifying the specific regulatory requirements. That requirements is what that GMP, that good manufacturing practice, good clinical practices that you need to identify, and then you can develop your manufacturing unit. I would like to tell you that most of the countries, like small countries like Brunei and Malaysia, they do not have a different, they do not have the manufacturing somewhere. Most of the marketing industries are directly marketing their drug to the small countries. So likewise, on the availability of the regulatory requirement, they can develop the strategy. Then establish a healthcare product development plan. Execute the product development plan. So whatever you are designing on the document, that you have to check, is it actually going through the industry or not. Execute the clinical plan, that clinical phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, that you have to check. And collect the data for regulatory submission, collate that data in a proper way to make it presentable to the regulatory authorities and ensure the post-marketing compliance of the same. So these are the steps of regulatory landscape that the regulatory affair person need to check and work on the same. Even in industry, as I have told you, they have a different systems for documentation. I have enlisted here only 6 to 7 systems that preparation. The generally document preparation is carried out on a one portal or one system, then archived is on another system, upload on this another one, submission, monitoring, and the ultimate update. Is it accepted by the authority or not? So acceptance or rejection. So they have a different systems, and the regulatory person have access to this all, which is in direct connection with the regulatory agencies. The most important part of this regulatory affair is the documentation. We have to keep a record on each and every documentation, which starts with the most important document, that is dossier, which relates with the drug product, the detail of the drug, its dosage, its administration, its side effect, and everything. So that dossier we need to create and submit it to the regulatory authority to get permission for manufacturing or for marketing. Then comes to the drug master file. This drug master file is having different definitions. As US FDA is concerned, it is having 5 types of DMF. Then again, for other area, they have a different master files. Drug master file means it is different for, if you can say that one type is for plant information, second is for excipient, third is for drug substance, fourth is for excipients, and fifth one is for clinical study. So likewise, the drug master file have a different portfolio over there. And the most important part of this regulatory affair, that is the backbone of regulatory affair, is the CTD, that is Common Technical Document, and Electronic Common Technical Document. And in this CTD, they have 5 modules. So that module 1 is associated with the regional administration information. Module 2 is associated with the quality overall summary, non-clinical overview, non-clinical summary, clinical overview, and clinical summary. And then module 3 associated with the quality. Module 4 is non-clinical study report, and module 5 is associated with the clinical study report. So this is all is given or available in the ICH guidelines. This, if the most of the countries follow this module 1 to module 5 for their dossiers for their drug product. So that's why it is called as a backbone of regulatory affairs. And the ultimate and the most important, that different types of application. So that INDA, ANDA, these application formats are specifically for US FDA. Although in India, as I have told you, for Sugam portal, that the form number 44 is there, the form number 18 is there, so which we can submit for taking permission for marketing of the drug or manufacturing of the drug. So each country have their different specifications for this all. So everything is going through the document only. You have to create a perfect document. You have to do the proper negotiation, and for the same, for creating that document, you must have to be thorough with all the basic functional areas, right from the pharmaceutics, pharmacology, pharmaceutical chemistry, and then ultimately the quality assurance. So these are the different opportunities you will get if you go for a regulatory affairs department. Initially, you can work as a senior officer, then you can work as a drug safety specialist. As Taksande sir told you that in pharmacovigilance, specifically, you can work as a drug safety specialist, then medical information associated, then quality control or in quality assurance department, you can work regulatory administrator, then regulatory affair assistant or specialist, regulatory affair associate, then regulatory affair consultant. Nowadays, this is a very like growing area, that you can be a consultant for any company, and then you can support them, just support that particular company for identifying their regulatory market and all the process. And ultimately, for this, you need to have that around 5 to 6 or 10 years of experience in the regulatory affairs. Then only you can work as a consultant. Here the packages are very high. Then regulatory affair head and director, the regulatory compliance manager, or regulatory food safety scientist. So which is very important to monitor food. So the regulations are very important for production of or marketing of food products. So this is the scope for regulatory affairs. After doing or after learning so many things through the regulatory affairs, you can work in the pharmaceutical production industry. You can work in a clinical research organizations like Covance or Equia. Then you can work in a pharmacological vigilance companies like TCS, then Accenture and Cognizant. Ultimately, regulations are important for cosmetic industry. So the regulatory affair persons are available in cosmetic industry as well. Preclinical research laboratories like Vimta, Jubilant, and Spark. In healthcare product manufacturing like Johnson Johnson's, Pigeon, because it ultimately relates with the baby product. Then veterinary medicine and the food industry, which is very important because it directly deals with the human health. So this is what all about the regulatory affairs. Thank you everyone for listening me.